Hi, I'm your host, Anand Sukhadia, and this is the Limitless One podcast. Join me on this journey as I interview the most inspirational souls who are tapping into their limitless blueprint on a mental, physical, and spiritual level to thrive in uncertain times. If you feel you are so much more than just this body, just this life, and want to tap into your limitless potential, you're in the right place. Here we go, starseeds.
With that being said, I'd like to bring on my guest for today, my friend Anand Sukhadia, and I always fuck up his last name.
Yes,
so I use Sukhadia.
It's Anand Sukhadia.
Sukhadia. I always mess up his name, so I always do that just to mess with him. I did it on purpose, but yes, but because he has gratitude, he can laugh at the fact that I do that to him, and it's always fun. So let's talk about that. What does gratitude mean to you?
Yeah, so wow, it's a very interesting topic because it's such a big part of my life. And let me just say that this is actually a really cool synchronicity because episode 108, I didn't know that, but 108 is actually a very sacred number in Hinduism. And many prayers have 108 mantras or 108 different names of different gods in the Hindu pantheon. So it's a very sacred number in many religions. But if you know that the mala beads that people wear,
Yes.
there's 108 different beads in there of the tulsi, of the Rudraksha rocks. And it's pretty cool that we're on for 108.
And I didn't even know that. So what are the odds, right? Things happen for a reason.
100%. And so gratitude for me, it's such a vast topic, but essentially it's I would say the first aspect of it is falling in love with your life and falling in love with yourself. And even if you can't find that love for yourself right now, you have to be dedicated to being on the road to find it. It might take you a long time. It might take you a couple of weeks, but that is the number one premise that you have to put for your life above everything else is I'm on the road to happiness. So maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'm going to get there. And we've all been there. I've talked to you for many years, and there was times where you were unhappy. You've talked to me, and there's times that I struggled through things and, relationships or failed businesses. But at the same time, we dedicate ourselves to knowing that, hey, this universe is absolutely abundant. And why is it little old me? I'm struggling to find gratitude in so much beauty around us. And even in this crazy town or crazy time that we live in, it's like almost like a clown world that we're living in.
Seriously.
But if you can find the gratitude at this moment, then you're starting to master your life.
And I so agree with that because, if people have read self-help books, the one that's the most notable is The Secret that everyone kind of talks about. And, it talks about gratitude in there and being thankful and getting up every day and being thankful that you can breathe, that you're alive, that your feet work, that your friends, you have a roof over your head. But what does that totally mean exactly? And one of the things that I came up with that I thought was so interesting, and you might actually really like this, I hope you do, but I thought to myself, well, this is why you need to give gratitude to the universe, or in my case, like God, because if you went to a friend's birthday and you spent all this time getting them this amazing gift that you were so excited to give them, and you gave that gift to that friend, and they just didn't seem to have any excitement around it. It was almost like they didn't care, or it was just another thing, and it was just thank you. And you put so much time and effort into it, and you feel yucky, like why weren't they as excited as I was? Well, that's how the universe feels when you're not excited for all the gifts they give you. Why does the universe or God want to give you more if you're not excited for all the stuff that they've given you? And I thought that's the analogy that totally clicked, that I feel everyone can relate to, because everybody's had that gift they've given that they were excited about, and the receiver just didn't seem to be as excited about. And it's that yucky feeling. So if you put that into perspective, like, wow, I get it now. Why would they give me more if I'm not excited for what I already have?
100%. That is so true. And then also you mentioned The Secret. There was this really good visual. I don't know if you've seen the movie or read the book, but
Huh?
they talk about your thoughts of your manifestations. They start out as a little seed, right? So it's here's the ground, here's the air, here is the soil. So it starts out as this little seed, and then it starts sprouting up, and you're putting more energy into it. It's almost like you're feeding it with soil, and you're feeding it with water, and all the things that it needs. And then all of a sudden, because it doesn't come in the timeline that you think it's going to come into, you all of a sudden stop watering that garden, or you stop watering that plant. And then boom, the seeds start, instead of growing, and then it detracts. And then it stops growing, and it stops coming out into the sun and into your manifestation. And once it pops through the soil into the air, that's when it's starting to manifest, and you actually physically see it in your world, your physical reality. But subconsciously it's being done. But if we stop giving the attention to it, then that's what hinders us. So what you said is like so true, is because yeah, The Secret talks about thinking about what you want and then trying to call it in manifestation, but the feeling aspect is the most important thing. And
Yes.
everything in this world is universe, is energy, right? So um, let's talk about emotion. The emotional charge is the fuel of that energy, right? So you say emotion, energy in motion. So when you're putting all these good feelings towards something, it's starting to percolate. It's starting to create this soup, this mix of stuff that it needs to manifest, right? And if you want a relationship, if you want a new job, if you want a new career, a business, whatever it is, if you put all of your attention, all of your commitment towards that, and you just basically put your entire energy into it, it's going to happen. Absolutely. If you're 99% committed versus 100% committed, it's a huge difference. You have most of the stuff at 99, but you don't have that last 1% to really make it happen. I'll give you an example in terms of one of my greater manifestations. So I went to a seminar like back in December of 2019. And it was a Tony Robbins seminar, one of his seminars called Date with Destiny. And it's one of his like
Yeah.
most, awesome seminars that, anyone's ever attended. But anyways, we did this exercise about finding or attracting your ideal mate. And for people who didn't have a mate and they're looking to attract one, he said, okay, write down a love letter to this person who you're going to attract in the present moment. Talk about the entire relationship with everything you want. So I wrote this long letter. It was like 6 pages long, every detailed of who I wanted, who, not only the person that I want, but also who I had to become in order to attract that person. So I wrote it down in the seminar, and then for every single day for the next like 4 months, I was reading it every single day during my meditation, during my prayers, and focusing on that. This is what I'm attracting. And in 4 months, I ended up finding my soulmate, my girlfriend at the time right now. I want to start a family with her and everything like that. But it's because of that emotional charge I put into it. The more emotion you put into something, the more you're going to see it. And that goes for the opposite side too. If you're putting all your energy into fear, you're manifesting fear-based things,
Yes.
which lead to scarcity and things that take you away from the stuff that you do want to create. So when we're living in this dichotomy of the world, we have this love and then we have the fear. So really, where do you want to navigate your ship towards? And you're going to get whatever you put your heart to. And if it's fear and I'm not good enough and I don't have enough money and all this kind of stuff, then we're not achieving the things that we want, and that's what happens.
Exactly. And you really nailed it with the emotion, which is the feeling part of it.
Mm.
Because I think a lot of people that read The Secret for the first time or the second time, and I know that I did this, all this stuff sounded great. And you would say, like, oh, I want X amount of dollars, or I want this or this partner, or whatever it was that you wanted. But the thing is, it never happened for me
Mm.
because I didn't have the feeling part. My emotions were tied around, is this going to happen? Am I going to get the big break? So my emotions and my feelings were more around the fear and anxiety part of my life for so long. And then, but you have to feel it. So when we bring it back to gratitude, you really have to not just get up in the morning and say, wow, I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head. I'm thankful that I have warm, that I have heat, that I have a bed, that I have pillows, that I have family, that I have friends. You have to feel that. Like
Hmm.
how lucky you are, like, wow, I have this amazing warm bed that I get to sleep in and get a good night's rest. And I have, running water. And, some people are like, oh, I've got to get up for work. Well, you have a job that provides you income. So it's like feeling those things and you really put it into perspective is going to grant you more of that.
Yeah, and if you're not grateful for the little things, then how could you expect some of the greatest things to come to you, right? We all know people that complain, oh, I want to meet, the perfect guy, and then they describe everything that they are, the perfect girl. But are you the energetic match for that person, right? So that we always have to ask ourselves, if we want to attract the perfect woman or the perfect guy, who do we have to become in order to get that? And who do we have to stay as in order to become that? And if you want someone who's positive and grateful and all this kind of stuff, why aren't we focusing all of our attention on becoming that magnet that brings in that exact energy? So it all starts from within. And I'm a big believer in self-responsibility, self-determination, because everybody lives in this same world, the same universe, in the same cities or whatever it is. But how is it that some people have such a clear lens and see things so positively, and then other people see some things like with such muck, and it's hard for them to understand how this world is so terrible and all this kind of stuff. It really depends, again, on our energy. And if we're driving down the highway and one person has a clear windshield and the other one has like bird shit all over it, it's the same highway, right? But there's a different perspective on what, oh, this highway is disgusting versus I can see very clearly, 100 feet ahead or 1,000 feet ahead, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And we've known each other for over 10 years. So you kind of met me really, when I was kind of starting out my career. And you know that, we had many conversations. I was riddled with fear and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Just riddled. I mean, I was just always so anxious and everything made me nervous. And it was, this rush to get things done and, having money so people, took me seriously. And it was pushing like all that stuff away. And it took, I'm not going to lie, you guys, it took a long time to finally kind of wake up, and a lot of self-help seminars and a lot of self-help books. But the problem was I was reading this great information, but I wasn't feeling it or acting on the emotion part of it. And that was the biggest key. For me, it was like when I had to get up in the morning to go to a day job so it could pay my rent to live my dream. And I was tired. It was like, oh, I'm tired. I got to wash my hair today. Like, ugh, God, I got to get up like an extra hour early, blah, blah, blah. Instead of now being like, wow, like I have a job that allows me to do what I need to do. And I have clean water to wash my hair. And well, I have hair. I mean, there's so many things that you can be grateful for. And like, we all hate getting ready. I get it. It's a chore. It's a pain, but we all like how we feel once we're getting ready. So if we could just appreciate the getting ready part of it, then I think the days would go a lot smoother.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, there's so many things we can be grateful for, and then there's also so many things we can complain about. So it's like, where do you want to choose to spend your time, right? I was telling you earlier, like something just came to me, and this sounds a little bit harsh, but not being in a state of gratitude is actually a form of selfishness. And people who are always dwelling on why is my life so hard and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, hey, listen, we all go through challenges, we all go through shit. Sometimes we're hurt by other people, but at the end of the day, if we use that, that's also fuel, right? So like you're putting stuff in the bank account of I'm a victim, even though, yeah, sometimes really horrible things happen. I'm not discounting that whatsoever,
Yes.
but how do you want to react to that? Are you going to let that affect you the rest of your life, or are you going to use that as fuel to become a stronger version of yourself and look at that adversity as just a lesson and move forward? That one example that a lot of people talk about is Oprah Winfrey. She, when she was younger, she was molested, she was raped, she was, verbally abused, physically abused, emotionally abused in every which way. If she continued to, which a lot of people would, they would break emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, spiritually. But she had a hard time. Obviously, she went through her healing journey, and contributing to other people. That was her healing journey. And look at her now with what that she's doing in the world and the planet and the influence that she has. I wouldn't think she's ever the person to talk about, oh, I'm a victim because of all the things that happened. She's empowered because of it. So again, we can use whatever story we have, because we all have a story. You know, somebody wasn't loved, somebody was, you know, abused as a child, somebody was, you know, they didn't get the attention that they needed, they weren't hugged, whatever it is. We all have a story. Some of them are more extreme than others, but at the same time, hey, listen, this is your life, right? You came here and you have to deal with it. So we could either choose to be in gratitude, or we can choose to be in victimhood, or we can choose to be upset about stuff and angry and look at other people for the cause of our misery.
Right. Well, it's exactly. And it's easy to play the victim, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to, you know, woe is me type thing when something happens. And it's okay to like feel those emotions if something doesn't go your way. Like right before I got on this call, I was really excited about a project I'd worked on. We did a really great sizzle for it. It was a scripted show. And I sent it to this guy, and I thought he'd be really excited about it because the feedback's been great. And it was, I don't like it. Too slow. Not interesting. Blah, blah, blah. And at that moment, I could have been like, oh, God, I'm so bummed. The whole day's ruined. Da, 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 da. I took it for what it was. Okay, I am in the art business. Not everyone's going to like everything, and that's okay. And I said, you know what? I'm just thankful that I had something for him to watch. And I'm thankful that, you know, this just pushes me one step closer, and maybe I can take some of his notes and maybe I won't, but it's giving me that drive to push forward. So, you know, and then I jumped on this call.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like before, I feel like if that had happened to me 4 years ago, like I would have been crying. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to make it. Da, 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 da. This was just like, another blip. And the other thing too is like when I get no's, instead of being upset about them, I get excited. The reason I get excited when I hear no is because I know I'm that much closer to getting the door that's going to say yes. And I know that sounds so cliche and so stupid, and it's in every self-help book, and you're like, really? I'm telling you, it's true. So when you get that rejection, be grateful for it, because you're like, wow. Because maybe you have to knock on 1,000 doors before the one that's meant to be is open. So every no you get is getting you closer to that one that's going to open.
Beautiful.
That's
So well said.
right?
And so empowering too, you know, like whereas before you said it would affect you completely. And hey, maybe this person doesn't have a good sense of humor. Maybe this person is not the right fit for you. Maybe if it went through, it would have been horrible, right? You want someone who's like all about what you're trying to share with the world. So again, yeah, like, you know, when we get this word rejection doesn't exist. The only time we stop playing the game is when we pull ourselves out of the game. And, you know, one no, all you need is one yes. You know, that's what it is. That's what we're all working towards.
Well, that's exactly right. And that is the thing too that can be frustrating, especially for people like, you know, in the artist bit, in the, you know, entertainment, is you do hear so many no's, and but instead of letting it derail you or giving up, if it's not making you happy, then yeah, I think you should pivot and probably do something else, because it's not fair for you in your life to be unhappy.
Yeah.
But if acting or whatever it is within entertainment makes you happy, then this rejection won't matter. It'll just propel you forward. But it's that old saying, like, all it takes is one, you know, and it can be annoying to hear. But at the same time, you're like, okay, if all it takes is one, then I'm a numbers person, right? I'm going to back end and put the statistics in my favor. So if you're listening to this and you're somebody, this could be anybody, whether you're an artist, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working, you know, at a big company, like, and I just lost my train of thought. But that's the thing too. It's like you just keep, like, the rejection doesn't matter. You just keep kind of moving forward. But if it's like fueling what you want to do, then, you know, you just keep kind of pushing forward. But this is what I was saying, the numbers game. So like being a statistics person in a way, I said, okay, if all it takes is one, well, then that means I need to up my chances. Because if I just have one, my odds are good because I'm not going to give up, but they're going to take me longer to get there. What if I had 10? 10 amazing things. And
Mhm.
I'm equally as excited, and I've done equally as much work on all of them, and they're all different. Now I've got 10, and all you need is one, but that one will open the door to the rest of the 9. So it's
Yes.
like, put those statistics in your favor. Like if you're a business and you're coming up, with a new product, so to say, don't just wait for it. Just don't put everything in just a one thing. Have several things. That way, if one doesn't go, it's not a big deal because you have the next one right there ready to go.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about you, Madison, is that when you started your career in stand-up comedy, it's not like that was the only thing you were doing. You're also doing other stuff. You had a successful career in finance. You're still doing that. You're getting involved in cryptocurrency. You're killing it with that. Although last week was tough,
Hey,
but
I bought. That was
yeah, yeah,
tough.
no, that's
Time.
the time to buy for sure.
I said, this is a buy time. You don't buy in the highs, you buy in the lows. See?
100%.
Gratitude. I was grateful the market fell for me.
I know, right? That's exactly. And then so many people on the other side, they looked at it as terrible. And you're absolutely right. I have to catch myself because yeah, I said it was a bad week, but in reality, no. That's part of the cycle of the markets. And it's funny because that day that it happened, I was sitting with my girlfriend. We were on the rocks in Jersey City here, and we were looking at the water, and there was so much life. Like there was ducks and there was everything. And then we look in the water and I see this like dead fish floating. And then I see another dead fish floating. So there's like 2 fish floating. And she's like, oh, that's so sad. Like, why is there death and all this kind of stuff? And then I thought about it for a second and I'm like, it's interesting is like we look at these things to say like a dead fish and we get sad or whatever it is. But in reality, that's just part of the cycle of life, right? So like in the markets, they go up and they go down. That's the beauty of it. Otherwise, if it's just going up, 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 it wouldn't make any sense. And there would be no, it wouldn't be sustainable essentially, right? So where there's life, there's going to be death. And the way that we look at these things, we're looking at it from judgment, right? Because okay, we see a fish and we get sad, and that's dead. Okay, and then we start thinking about our own life. Oh, someday, we're not going to be here, and then we kind of go into this loop of stuff rather than just looking at all the beautiful life that was going on. The birds were singing, the sun is shining, it is beautiful, sunshine on our face, vitamin D, all these amazing things. We had a really nice drink together, some tea, and like it was just so beautiful. And then we were focused on that one thing that kind of like was a blurry part of the picture. But in reality, it's all how we take everything. And that can be said for any aspect of your life. When we're focused on the one thing that's kind of off or doesn't fit our version of the perfect thing, there is no such thing as perfect.
No.
We're just constantly evolving. That's all we're doing. And this life is just an experience. And we're here for a short amount of time, and we get to choose like how we want to focus our energy and our emotion, like we talked
It's so true. And
about.
I still have friends, like I used to be this way too. So I feel that I'm a good person to, you know, give this advice when, friends that are dating and whatnot, and, they'll get a message and then all of a sudden they're analyzing the text message. Well, what do you think this means? The fact that you have to even analyze the message means he doesn't like you. I'm sorry, but like it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, how awesome you are. You're just not a fit. Like you should be grateful that that guy is being so aloof because now you can just delete him and move on with your life. But yeah, I think we get so caught up in not being grateful for my nose is itching. That means somebody's thinking about me at all times. I don't do cocaine. Everyone thinks I do a ton of cocaine. I don't. Could you imagine me on cocaine? Holy shit. Um, but that's the thing too. It's like we I think we fall into those societal standards that have been created where it's get a job, go to college, get a job, stay at the job, buy a house, have kids, get married, have kids, or whatever order. I don't judge. And then you see the majority of people doing that, and that's a beautiful thing. But what if you step back and realize that God or the universe, whatever you believe, gave you this amazing, unique life with this amazing, unique gift that we all have. And we're not all meant to be on that same path. Like for me, it was, did I have a desire to meet a great guy and get married at one point? Yeah. Do I still have that? Yes. But I'm not putting everything into that, I'm allowing God to bring that person to me if it's meant to be. I'm like sitting on a boat, right? And I'm letting life take me where it should take me. If that's meant for me, then I'll happily accept that. But right now, my life is so fulfilled and so exciting that it's like I don't necessarily need that. And I try to express this to my single friends, where, you know, like, oh, dating is awful, so many like awful people, and I have to go on all these stupid dates. And I was like, why do you have to do that? Well, I want to meet somebody. I said, that's great, but what if you just step back, took the control off, and just let it ride and be grateful for all the stuff that you do have, all the time you have that you get to now spend with friends that you know you're going to have a good time with, versus going on these crappy dates. And I wish people would just kind of understand that and step back from it. You don't have to get married. You don't.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And, same boat for me. Like, I'm 40 years old, and it took me, all this time to find somebody, and who knows what happens in the future, right? But like, the moment I stopped feeling like there's a destination that I have to hit in order to be happy, that's when you become free. Because if you
Yes. So I said, yes, so true.
yeah, so it's about falling in love with your life, really. And if you could fall in love with your life and the journey that you're on, and be appreciative of all the things that you've gone through, like, we're so kind and loving to the family members that we really love, and our best friends, and we're so there for them, emotional support, and anytime they need us, we get on the phone with them. But how many of us treat ourselves that way? And the minute we start treating ourselves with that level of care, then we can start really kind of like healing ourselves. And if you're waiting for other people to love you and you don't love yourself, then there's a big divide there. And
True.
there won't be real love if you do attract somebody, if you're not loving yourself, don't have your boundaries, don't have the vision for your life. Because I talk about this all the time with my girlfriend. I'm like, regardless of whatever happens to us, I want you to completely be happy and love your life, and I want me to completely be happy and love my life. And we choose to be together. Great. The moment we decide, if we decide ever to not be together, then we're going to continue like to carry that beauty of our own lives with us, and not feel like broken or hurt or any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're only here. We come alone, and then we die alone. And then once we go on to the next chapter of that story, I believe in reincarnation, and how energy is always transmuted. It's never destroyed. There is life after this. It's going to be just us. So again, be very comfortable with who you are and your life, and again, learn to love it, because this is us. This is all we got.
It's true. And the other thing too that I think caused such a struggle with this for people. So I think a lot of people, especially older generations, were raised to always put others first, to not think of yourself, thinking too highly of yourself. You were selfish, you were a narcissist, you were this thing. And you kind of always heard this, right? Like, don't eat the nourishing food, offer it to somebody else, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden this self-help thing came rushing in. It was like, love yourself, love yourself. And you're like, wait, but I've been conditioned my whole life, yeah, to like myself, but like you always put others first. And all of a sudden it was telling you, no, that's where you're going wrong. So I think people kind of had to recondition themselves that loving yourself is not selfish. Loving yourself makes you a whole being to provide more for other people. So it actually makes you not loving yourself is he said, is Anand said, is selfish. You can actually do more for people when you actually are truly in your gift. You can inspire people. You can help people on their own journey. There's so many things you can do. You can make them laugh. You can prove that this happens. And, we all have our own things, like how, I used to have a complaint where I was like, oh, I wish my hair wasn't so thick. It takes forever to wash. Then I'm like, Jimmy, people like have hair falling out of their head. I'm like, I gotta stop this shit. But the thing is, you meet a girl with straight hair, she wants curly hair. You meet a girl with curly hair, she wants straight hair. Well, I got news for you. All of us are different. We all have our own shit. So just be grateful for it, and
150%.
I
I
wonder
agree.
if I was like this if like 11 years ago, if I would have gotten fake tits. I always ask myself that.
I don't have a time machine, Madison.
No.
I think there's a lot of things I would probably do differently. But again, like, how can I say that? Because I'm who I am because of all the shit that I've gone through. I probably would have had a lot. I would have made a lot better decisions and achieved certain things quicker. But
Yes.
again, like, I would not have been the person that I am today if success came easily to me, or whatever it is.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing, is like you have to go through your struggles to be able to learn and kind of shape you on your journey. I always say, now that like things are starting to really happen for me and I've kind of really gotten out of my own way, and I'm just really grateful for everything I have around me and the opportunities and just seeing life more clearly. It's like I always say, you know, we always want to be, everybody wants to be a millionaire at 25, right? Like a multimillionaire. You show up all your friends and you're partying and you're still like really hot, you know. But the truth of the matter is,
Man, I'm still hot at 40.
yeah, no, you're right. You are. Me too. I still got it. I'm not 40 yet, but I'm quickly approaching. But that's the thing too. I always say, like, I'm so glad I was not rich when I was younger, because I would be such an a-hole,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have the appreciation, you don't have the struggle to make you kind of understand that people are either in their own way, or they don't have the gifts, or they don't have the opportunities, and you got to help where you can, you know. But yeah, I always say that struggle is a gift, and I want people to really hear that again. Struggle is a gift, because it makes you appreciate and have gratitude for the smaller thing. Like if everything came easy, you'd have nothing to be grateful for, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that's a big thing. I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? Looking back, if I was having this conversation 10 years ago, I'd be like, struggle is terrible. I just want all this to work out. Why isn't this working for me?
Yeah, no, I really believe adversity should be welcomed because we don't grow unless we step outside of whatever our comfort zone is. And if everything comes easily to us, where's the lesson, right? Like you said, at 25, if you were a millionaire, if I was a millionaire, I'd probably blow all that money because it would have seemed so easy. But like going through the hardships and and really acknowledging the fact that okay, I overcame so much to get to where I am, and I kept overcoming, kept overcoming, kept overcoming, felt like everything was uphill. And finally, I got to a place where I could kind of like see downhill. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that was all worth it for me, not only just for the stuff that I was able to achieve, but also the mindset that I was able to create. So it's like working out. It's like you constantly, do resistance training, and then all of a sudden, the muscles get stronger. This is the same thing with your mind. If you keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zones and able to overcome it, and you're still here based on that, then you become bigger than any obstacle. And one of the practices I was going to share today about gratitude is like really putting yourself in quote unquote uncomfortable position. So like I
Yeah.
highly suggest meditation is a really good way to do it, but like cold showers, right? If you commit to a practice of cold showers every single day, even 1 minute in a cold, like at the end of your shower, just turn it to cold. You have to be fully present in that moment. And if you could be grateful for that, then you're building that muscle of putting your body through certain hardships. And then afterwards, you feel incredible. You feel alive. You feel the inflammation go down in your body. You have to breathe really deeply. And then you're out of there and you're like, whoa, I feel like really high because all these endorphins are like kind of like rushing into my head right now. So that's a really good practice to do. And if you could commit to that for 30 days, see where your life is going to go, just emotionally, mentally, physically, how you feel. Like that's a really good practice.
Cold shower, that sounds miserable. But now that you started explaining that it has endorphins, I'm like, oh my gosh. I did hear that you're supposed to do a quick rinse with your hair with cold water at the very end, because it kind of seals in everything.
Yeah,
And
it closes all
it,
the pores.
yeah, and it like helps, like shampoo breaks up easier in cold water versus warm water or hot water.
Yeah.
But so every day you get in the shower, you have a nice warm or hot shower, and you get all sudsy and you're all rinsed off. And then before you get out, you torture yourself for a minute with
Yeah,
cold ice water.
absolutely.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna try this. I might be
And,
screaming, but
and let me tell you something. It's never easy. The decision to do this every single day is torture. But once you do it, then you know, okay, I'm in this for the next minute, and you have to breathe. You have to really calm yourself. It's a really good grounding. It's almost a meditation. It's a spiritual experience because when you're in there, you're gonna have to figure out, okay, how do I survive for the next minute? But it's a really powerful thing to do.
wow. What else do you do as
You
far as
know,
exercises?
obviously putting your body through really hard things. So sauna is another thing. You know, I do like infrared saunas. I have a wellness spa here in Jersey City. So I'm in the infrared sauna 3, 4 times a week. That's really good to, again, your mind, for your body as well. You're helping detox. I do a lot of meditation. I do really hard workouts, sweat a lot. I mean, the more you put your body through certain things, then your mind knows, okay, wow, every single time I can do this, and I'm getting better and better and better. Hot yoga is another amazing thing that I do. And I do that like twice a week. And every single time I go there, first of all, I'm not very flexible.
Yeah.
So I have to continue the evolution of getting more flexible. But in the beginning of the class, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so hard. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, once you're done, I literally exert every ounce of energy I have into it. And when you go into Shavasana or the rest pose, I'm so fucking grateful for what I just did with my body and my mind. It's never easy, but afterwards you get all the rewards. And I think that's a microcosm, a metaphor for life is like the journey is not always easy to get through certain things, the adversity that you go through. But the more you put yourself out of your comfort zone and you come out on the other side, you're always going to feel so much better about yourself because had you not taken that choice, even going into a relationship, maybe, you know, there's a lot of hesitancy or whatever, you go through it. And if you don't come out with lessons, good or bad, like, you know, experience, you're not really doing it right because we should always be coming out with lessons in everything that we do.
100%. And so you've been able to manifest, and you're very grateful for this amazing, beautiful, I'm gonna say hot woman that you got. She's so pretty. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, she's amazing. But how did you get yourself? Because I feel like a lot of people, and I sometimes still have it, you still have that underlying like fear of getting hurt. You know, you've known me for a while. My breakup 5 years ago really, really rocked me. And it was a very painful time in my life. And I'm very grateful for that time because it made me grow so much.
Mhm.
But I don't think I would get as hurt now because if somebody doesn't want to be with me, I see it as that fun rejection or that fun no, to where I'm like, wow, I'm that much closer to the one that does type thing. But we all don't want to get hurt. We all wonder kind of sometimes, oh, well, you know, what could be wrong with us? Why didn't this person like me, but I liked them? So it's like, how do you kind of get yourself out of that?
Yeah, it's, you know,
Not
I've
being
been,
afraid of getting rejected and being more grateful for what you have.
yeah, you know, I've been hurt in so many relationships and I put in so many eggs into certain baskets. And, you know, I realized that there was taking a lot of responsibility for a lot of them. And I think in terms of relationships, choosing the right partner is so much of the journey, right? Because
Yeah.
I've dated lots and lots of people, you know, throughout my life, and been in a lot of relationships, but I never really kept my standards and my boundaries. And in this relationship, I'm so excited about it just because, first of all, we never know the future. And I talk about this with Kate all the time is that, you know, the moment that we decide it's not the right thing to do to stay together is we'll have that conversation and we'll do it in a very sacred way. Because at the end of the day, I want her to be her happiest life and I want me to live my happiest life. And right now we're on that same page and we're growing together and we have the same life goals and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, how do we predict the future? And like anyone who says, "Oh, I'm going to love you forever," you know, you have to make that choice every single day. So as long as we continue to do the right things and communicate properly, and you know, it's one of those things where I don't think I'm ever going to be hurt in that way. Yes, it's going to be sad if relationships end or whatever it is, or even friendships, right? But the first thing you have to do is love yourself unconditionally and have your boundaries and your standards for what you want in life, and be very expressive of it, and talk about the things that you love, and talk about the things that you fear, and the things that you desire in a relationship and in life, and just trying to find somebody who is very aligned with that. And even with that, even if you're very aligned, things can happen. And, you got to be able to go through the adversity together, because you go through adversity on your own, great, but you're going to go through adversity together. So these are, these are things you're going to have to face no matter what, but it's a self-development exercise. Just like you go through adversity on your own, you're gonna have to learn from stuff that happens together.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I feel that I've really, been able to work on my confidence and things, and I have confidence in all areas of my life. I'm still working on the relationship area of confidence because I haven't been very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really put myself out there either. And you said something interesting about expressing your needs, which is so good, because I feel that so many people are afraid to express their needs because they don't want to come off as needy. But
Yeah.
again, getting rid of people is an amazing thing to do, because then you get closer to that end person that you want to, that you're supposed to be with, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the
So
thing
just be
with
like, this is what I need. Like I want, for example, like, okay, I want a guy who I don't have to question anything anymore. I want somebody who is attentive and is excited to be around me and see me, and things of that sort. And I'm grateful for my barking dog. Not really, but no, I'm grateful for her, and she's amazing. She's now barking. Her name is Deborah Joy. I'm very grateful that I was able to name my dog such a funny name. But yeah, it is very true. But yeah, but exactly, like not having those fears or anything, because the rejection actually gets you closer to your end goal, and just expressing what you need. I think that's kind of a fair thing. But I always thought like sometimes I would attract unavailable people
mm-hmm.
because
But
I wasn't available myself. So my energy was attracting exactly what I was giving off.
mm-hmm. Or fearful of this person might not be emotionally available, right? And you're putting energy and you're attracting that. Because listen, when there's a lack, there's going to be a void. There's a void. There's going to be something that comes and fills it, right? So if people are coming with an overflowing of love, they're going to feel somebody who's bringing in that same energy. When there's a lack, like, oh, I'm not good enough, there's going to be energy vampires that want to kind of fill that void. And it's just the universe trying to balance us out. And one of the things about this exercise, which is a great exercise, is called Love, Fears, and Desires. If you find in your relationship, and you start doing this right away when you're getting to know somebody, if you start talking about your fears and the person is open to hearing it without any judgment, the whole idea is for you to express your fears without any feedback. The person just says thank you and listens. So it does two things. First of all, it allows you to it's almost like a form of therapy where you're able to release it, right? By telling somebody who you potentially looking to get into a relationship with. Secondly, it's for that person to understand, hey, listen, if I really love this person, I know what her fears are, and then I can hold space for that or assure them in the future. It's not about like fixing the problem right then and there. And a lot of times, guys, we want to fix things, but it's about listening and just being present, right? So when are we ever able to, like, if say like you and I have very different views on politics or something like that, and I tell you something, the minute that you hear it, the potential is that you want to just go back on the other side and tell you, no, this is the way it should be. And
Right. Yeah.
Is that conflict. Instead of saying to you, Madison, like, tell me about your beliefs on something. And I listen to it. And even if I have different beliefs, I'm going to say, Madison, thank you for sharing. And you feel understood, you feel heard. And the same thing goes with what you love about that person. The same thing goes for what you desire in a relationship. So this is a really good way to connect with another person. And if the person is not about it, then you realize, okay, it's going to be hard to communicate with this person. So in that little exercise alone, it could take 20 minutes, but you're going to learn a world about this person. And you could do it very early on in even like on a date or, when
A first date?
maybe not on the first date, but
Like, who's this wackadoodle?
at least when you get intimate. I mean, it depends on what the goal of the
I think
relationship
it should be
is.
before you're intimate, though, because once you're intimate, I feel like that ruins a lot of stuff if you get intimate too early.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
I know
whole power of the pussy type thing,
yeah,
what I call
yeah. And I know you're very empowered, and you tell people right away, hey, listen, I'm not getting intimate with you. I need to get to know you and all this kind of stuff.
it. And 5 tequila shots later, no, those days are over.
Yeah.
No, but okay, so it sounds great. Loves, fears, and desires. I love it. Awesome. How do you do this? Like,
How do you
walk
do
us
that?
through, if let's say you and I are on a date, we're sitting at a dinner table. How do you, it's our third date. How do you start this conversation to do this?
Uh, So what I would say is, I heard from a friend of mine about this really good exercise. I don't know, but I mean, it really depends on how people are connecting, whether it's third date or whether it's a month into it. But it's like the way to say it is like, okay, there's this great exercise that can really we can kind of like speed up so much about the emotional component of our connection and really understand each other. And are you open to experiencing it, right? So you do it, you do it in a bed, or you do it in a couch or something like that. You have some candlelight, you make it a really romantic setting. You just do some like eye gazing first and really just sit in and connect. I know it sounds corny as hell, but let me tell you something. Looking at someone in the eyes for, uninterrupted for 3 minutes without saying a word, it can be very uncomfortable for some people, but it could also like help people connect even better energetically. And
Okay.
then the first person would go, and then you talk about your fears. And then once you kind of finish talking about that, then it's your job to not say anything or to say but and try to fix it or any of that stuff. It's just saying thank you and accepting it. Then you talk about what you love about that person, and then they just say thank you, and then you just talk about what you desire in a relationship or at a life or whatever it is, and then that person says thank you, and then you switch. And then this way, both parties are able to tell about like fears. Like, we've all been through trauma in relationships and hurts and all this kind of stuff. So at least it's a safe way to kind of express that, and not going into too many specifics, but like, I am fearful of a partner cheating on me, or a partner of mine, like, lying to me about something or hiding something from their past or whatever it is. Right. So at least this person knows. And if both people are invested in continuing this relationship, then they know about each other's vulnerabilities. And I think if you can be vulnerable with somebody, then it leads to a deeper connection and deeper intimacy.
No, I mean, it's very well said. That is
Yeah.
true. But yeah, it's kind of like when you do it, right? But I guess it's just getting rid of those fears again and just being grateful for all the gifts that you have and what you bring to the table. Do you believe that there's people have soulmates?
That's a great question. I think about this a lot, and I truly believe, I mean, I'm a very spiritual guy, so
Right.
I truly believe everyone is my soulmate. And I believe
Okay.
that, and not just in a romantic way, but I believe my friends are my soulmates. And some of the people that I've met in the last couple of years after owning my business, I feel more connected with them than I do some of my best friends that I grew up in high school with or college with. And I truly feel that we're all a soul family. And eventually, like, everybody is your soulmate if you can see them as what they are, is just God presence. And that's really challenging sometimes because we have difference of opinions, and like, we're not connected to the maybe the homeless man that we see on the street, or the or the person at the behind the counter, or whatever it is. But it's like, if we can look at everybody as a mirror and just treat them with love and
Yeah.
smile at them, give them inspiration, I think that's how we connect deeper to ourselves, because we realize there's no separation between that person and ourselves.
Yeah, because it's always interesting. It's like, oh, I'm gonna find the one. You hear people like, oh, I found the one, or he or she is my soulmate. We're just meant to be together. And I do believe that. I think there is, but it's like, how do you find it? How do some people find it so soon, and how do some people take forever? I think it's just all that we're all given these different gifts and journeys that we have to go on, and that's why I think it's important not to compare,
Mhm.
as everyone's got their own struggles, but everyone has their own gifts, and just to kind of be grateful. So what are your top tips to stay in gratitude before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, just really remaining present and having a practice. Like, I think journaling is really, really important. Really writing down your emotions or writing down what's on your mind, because you're able to release it. If we're not able to release or communicate it to ourselves, then it gets stuck inside here. And it's like a computer. If we don't defrag the computer, all these files start building up, and then they're all over the place, and then our computer slows down. When we're able to kind of organize our thoughts through writing or through journaling or through meditation or through breath work, flotation therapy, there's so many different ways of doing it, but have some sort of practice where you kind of lighten the load that you're feeling. And we all, carry with us shit throughout the day, but the lighter that we can live, try to live as light as a feather, where you're not carrying so much emotional baggage with you. I think that really that's the kind of the key to living a very sustainable, happy, gratitude-filled life.
Yeah. And I would just add to that, I guess, just being appreciative of the little things, but also not just appreciative like a Hallmark card, like really feeling the appreciation, like even when you lay down in your bed, like what it would be like not to have a bed, like really appreciate,
Yeah.
that moment, the clean clothes, the clean water, the food, like just different things like that, and be open to receiving those things, and also be grateful that you're working on yourself. That's a big thing to be grateful for too. I think when people start on these self-help journeys or these self-love journeys, they're like, oh my gosh, like how do I do this? It's going to take so long. It's only going to take as long as you let it take.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially everything is a story, right? Like you're just talking about soulmates. Like really the only soulmate that you know of for sure is yourself. So treat yourself as your
Yeah.
soulmate. A lot of people want to create stories about, oh, I think this is the one, but we wrap around all of our thoughts and wants and all this kind of stuff, and maybe we don't see through the right lens of a clear lens. We see through the lens of, oh, all my friends are in relationships, and I met this guy, and I want to project all of the things onto them that I want. So it happens so that like when that person doesn't fulfill what you want and what you desire out of them, then they become the bad person. So it's really like really clearing out all judgment, all projections onto somebody else, and focus on yourself. And then when you can treat yourself like a soulmate, then you'll naturally find that person that will come to you, whether it's the right girl, the right guy, whatever whatever you're looking for, or something else.
The right job, the right opportunity, the right
Exactly.
cryptocurrency. People
The
put
right
too much
crypto.
focus on relationships. So I
Or-
always like to take it back and be like, no. Buying your dream house is just as important as meeting
Yeah.
your soul. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like, just remember, like everybody's, as I always tell people, like everybody's on a different path or a different journey.
Yeah, and finding the right shit coin, to get it at like 0.0000001 cent.
Dump it
And
at the right time.
see it rise to like $50,000 in the first week, and then sell that shit and and live
Right off into the sunset. It's so
so,
true.
so there's one more practice I want to share, and I have to give credit to my girlfriend for this. She reminded me of it yesterday when I was telling her about the podcast. So find a gratitude partner, right? And so every day create like a WhatsApp group or something like that, just between you and them. And the first day, Madison, you're my partner. I'll text you day one of gratitude. Madison, I am so grateful for the beautiful blue skies and the sunrise this morning and my meditation, right? And then you just say thank you, or even an emoji, whatever it is. The next day, day two, Madison, you tell me about what you're grateful for. Day three, I tell you. Day four, you tell me. So we do this for 3 months. And every day you have a gratitude accountability partner.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. And there's no complaining. Find somebody who you don't talk to maybe like all the time. You're not supposed to get on the phone and then start complaining about your day or this person or that person. Just gratitude. That's all. So if you want to find somebody like that in your life, whether it's, like a friend you haven't talked to or connected with, hey, would you like to be my gratitude partner for the next 90 days? All we're going to do is positive affirmations or positive gratitude shares from our day. And see where that takes you. And if you want to continue it past that.
I love that. That is such a good idea. You guys, if you decide to do that, which I hope you all do, I know I'm going to do it. Please hit me up. All the contact information is on the website. You can do contact@nexttomadison.com. Put a comment on our YouTube channel. Nobody really goes there, so I'm trying to drive you there. Or Apple or Spotify. I want to hear that you guys are doing it so we can start creating a community to kind of cheer each other on. And speaking of gratitude, I'm thankful for every single person that listens to this podcast, that's listening to this episode. Without you guys, I would have no listeners. So, right. So it keeps me going. And I hope that every episode helps or inspires you or educates you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm so grateful for my friendship with Anand and all the experiences that we've kind of had together and the journeys that we shared, and him listening to my days where I was a victim many times, and that we've been able to share so many things, including cryptocurrency. Yeah. And just all the things when we're kind of both on our journey, that we're kind of reached that level to where we can continue on and see life for what it really is. So Anand, I'm very grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you, Madison. Love you. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you guys next time to find out who's next.